Hold it! House of Representatives directs halt of proposed electricity tariff increase. House confirms appointment of service chiefs, OK's fuel pump price increase. And House calls for diligent investigation and justice served in the killing of 2-year-old Ivan Omorina by stray bullets in Delta State. Not the best of weeks it might seem at the Green Chamber, with members having to deal with proposed hike in electricity tariff and the unfortunate killing of a 2-year-old by stray bullets. Anyway, thanks for joining us on You and Your Reps on the NTA. I am Victor, as welcome. The House of Representatives has passed a resolution directing the National Electricity Regulatory Commission to suspend any proposed electricity tariff hike by distribution companies pending an interface on the issue with its Committee on Power. The House notes that the proposed increase is uncalled for, given the inability of operators to meet the contractual threshold of supplying 5,000 megawatts of power annually.
For the lawmakers, the proposed electricity tariff hike by the distribution companies is not in the best interest of Nigerians.
It is most inappropriate and insensitive to come up with a price increase of such magnitude at this time when Nigerians are yet to come to terms with the increase in petroleum prices.
I'm sure that the discos or the gencos, in their wisdom, don't want to also increase tariff. But with the exchange rate issues, the market forces issues, the subsidy issues, it affects them in some way or the other as well.
A bill to amend the Electricity Act 2023 scaled second reading and the motion seeking provision of a transmission substation in Kogi East was adopted.
As strategic as this zone is to the state and the country, the zone cannot boast of steady and regular power supply.
An ad hoc committee was mandated to investigate the reported use of adulterated aviation fuel by affected airline operators.
That the airlines that have suffered this adulterated fuel be suspended, say aye. Those against, say nay. The nays have it.
And among the other bills entertained by the House is the one by Representative Francis Waive on allocation of revenue from the Federation account, which scaled first reading.
The essence here is to move some funding from the center to the lower tiers of government. I've observed, and many Nigerians will confirm this, that the states, but more importantly, the local governments, they need more funding. And that's what I have proposed, to think a little bit with what comes to the federal government and then move it, more of it to the local and then to the state. I believe in decentralization. I believe in fiscal federalism. I believe if power is not concentrated too much in the central, we will not have these agitations. People will be able to get some services at the local government level, at the state level, and then we'll have some peace in the country, relative peace. I really want Nigeria to continue as one country, but it has to be based on peace, on justice, equity, fairness, and all of that. Nobody wants war. All the countries around the world that are going through that. It's a pity. God forbid it happens here. So I think one of the solutions is to tinker with the revenue allocation formula. And as a lawmaker, I have that privileged position to articulate the views of my constituents and Nigerians to ask that the ratio be changed in such a way that the federal government, what they currently have, 50-something%, should come down a little bit. And that is taken from them, goes to local, and a little bit more for the states. That's what I'm proposing. And I hope that at the second reading, my colleagues would buy my view. When it goes to public hearing, Nigerians will come out in full in support.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives has confirmed appointments of the service chiefs following an adoption of the report of its ad hoc committee that screened the military chiefs. The House, however, turned down a motion to suspend the latest increase in fuel pump price from 540 naira to 617 by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC Limited.
The service chiefs confirmed at the Committee of the Whole are Major General Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Biodun Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ugala, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar, Chief of Air Staff.
That the House do consider the report of the ad hoc committee on the screening of nominees for appointment as Chief of Defense Staff and Service Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. So we say number one recommendation is carried. Number one recommendation, carried.
The House resolves to constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate frequent hike in pump price of petrol and report back for further legislative action.
We're expecting a hike in price of food in the coming days because the price of fuel affects the price of everything in the market. Mr. Speaker, this is the People's House and we represent the interests of Nigerians. And if this is allowed to continue, the fear is that fuel price will be sold at 1,000 naira per litre by the end of the year. So my prayer is that the House do set up an ad hoc committee to look into the circumstances surrounding the increment in the price of fuel by the NNPCL.
For the House to suspend the increase in the fuel by NNPC pending their appearance to this hallowed committee that we are about to set, that the price be reverted, let it be what it is a few days to status before they will appear before the committee. I so amend, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, let me put it to question. Those in support that will stop the price increase subject to investigation say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. Let's allow them do their job, and at the end of the day, we'll be able to work with their resolution. But all we will ask the committee when set up is that they should do their job with the speed of light. We should not preempt the committee.
The lawmakers also adopted a motion urging the president to lift the embargo on employment in ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government.
Some MDAs have resorted to engaging casual staff who are paid from internally generated revenue and other sources. While it is sad that these casual staff are not pensionable,
Now, one of the major motions passed by the House at plenary is the one calling for the revival of federal government-assisted urban mass transit schedule for interstate and intrastate transport. Representative Miriam Odinaka is one of the movers of the joint motion.
Following the removal of subsidy on petroleum and other finished products, the hardship on Nigerians have become immeasurable, and you could hear from the streets, transporters, workers, women, youth, and artisans have complained about the gross impact on cost of living and livelihood and all of that. And this is also increasing by the day because it's translational. When you push one, it pushes the other. So prices of everything have gone up, occasion to that singular move. But then, is that move in the right direction? It is, because subsidy must go at some point, and there's no better time to let it go. So I want to first of all encourage him for the bold step he had taken to make that pronouncement and follow it with these palliatives capable to provide immediate, mid-time and long-term a solution to the problems. So in my own opinion, I'll see this as a temporary problem and suffering to enable Nigerians and all of us enjoy the benefits that will come thereafter. The president had sent a request to the National Assembly for approval of monies to sustain the palliative arm, which in his wisdom will help to alleviate these sufferings. And now this motion comes to urge the federal government to revive the visibly absent former federal urban mass transit scheme and buses, which used to be around and was set up to help ameliorate problems with transportation of persons, goods, and other ancillary services. 1989, which was seen to have failed. In 2016, there was another scheme by federal government, which was a revolving scheme at the time. It was facilitated by the Infrastructure Bank, and that project sank over about 37 billion naira into the supply and distribution of about 4,116 buses, high-capacity buses, to beneficiaries nationwide. That project also is nowhere to be seen. And it might interest you to know that that project was a big one and had the capacity at that time to provide over 5,000 direct and indirect jobs to drivers, assistant drivers, technicians, ticketing assistants, and all of that. All that is nowhere right now. And then in 2018, you are aware about the Abuja Metro Rail project, which also got a huge amount of money. It was intended to solve the Abuja metropolitan transport issues, provide such services, and dedicated line from the Central Business District to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, and then with the terminal too at Idu Station. That one you can also see. Not much is seen or heard about it. So I'm wondering, and when we sponsored this motion, where went all of this and the effort government had put into those projects? So this is more like calling on the present government, since government is a continuum, to look backwards and see how we can harness what is left of those programs. If there are people who need to be brought to book, let them be called to account for all of the huge investments made to ensure that life was easier and remained easier for Nigerians.
And the House of Representatives has called for investigation and prosecution of security personnel found culpable in the extrajudicial killings across the country. The Green Chamber is seeking justice over the killing of 2-year-old Ivan Onose Omorina by stray bullets allegedly fired by men of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) in Asaba, Delta State.
This petition is hereby required.
For lawmakers, the alleged extrajudicial killing of 2-year-old Ivan in Delta State is one incident to many.
Mandates the Committee on Human Rights, when constituted, to ensure that the family of Onose are adequately compensated for their loss. Also mandates the Committee on National Security and Intelligence, when constituted, to effectively monitor the activities of law enforcement agencies. Most of the law enforcement agencies to be advised to have their active duty personnel wear body cameras. It is important that they know that this is one of the best work practices.
The gavel is one of the most significant tools of legislative business, regardless of its small size. But just how significant? We asked Chair of the House Committee on Rules and Business in the 9th House. Here's Representative Abubakar Fulata.
It's a small stick, but also a small stick that also goes with a lot of authority. It's normally placed in front of the chairman of any committee or the speaker or any presiding officer for that matter. Whenever a decision is taken, either positive or negative, to signify that such decision has been taken, the presiding officer or the chairman of the meeting will gavel in. And once, for example, in the House of Representatives, once the gavel is down, it cannot be reversed unless through a substantive motion on rescission. When the gavel is down, a decision has been taken. And you cannot reverse it until you now move a substantive motion seeking the reversal of that decision. And the motion would have to be put to vote. And if members unanimously agree that, or majority agree that that should be reversed, then that will be. Otherwise, only a court of law can change that particular issue.
And now that fuel subsidy is gone, what do the people expect from government to alleviate the effects? We asked a cross-section of Nigerians on the streets of Abuja. Here's what we got.
We believe if government manages it very well, it will be good for us. But there's something government is supposed to do, which El-Rufai did initially. El-Rufai brought a lot of buses during his time in FCT here and put it in the different routes. And it was very helpful to civil servants then. If government can borrow a leaf from there, and fleet buses, these big buses everywhere, with their own subsidized price, I think the masses, not only the civil servants, even the masses will enjoy it.
But I think the government should put some measures in place to help us deal with the effect of fuel subsidy in general. Because the minimum wage is still the same price and the cost of living is very high.
They should start early because they have not started putting a measure to curb the difference in price and rising cost of commodities. So they should hasten up whatever measure they can put because the essence of government is to be able to curb every lapses.
My advice to government is that if they can do something to bring the prices down that can be affordable for people, because it has really even affected some people. They are not able to go to work.
They should bring down the price for us, the masses, so that we can benefit and then we can run our day-to-day activities.
The member representing Akwanga, Nasarawa Egon, Wamba Federal Constituency of Nasarawa State, Jeremiah Umaru, has been lamenting the lack of federal government presence in his constituency. He is therefore proposing several establishment bills, including the National Youth Development Commission Establishment Bill, read for the first time.
The young people of Nigeria are vibrant, intelligent, hardworking, are innovative. So we need a commission to be able to bring these people together so that they'll get the right empowerment that is required or needed for them. So the whole idea is to ensure that the youths of Nigeria are considered in the way and manner the nation Nigeria is being run, just like other commissions. Now, the Youth Development Commission is coming up because if you go to other countries, you discover that the young people are the ones running the affairs of those nations. And here, yes, we have the Ministry of Youth and Sport, but I feel the Youth Commission, Development Commission will be more focused in the development of the Nigerian youth from the primary, secondary, tertiary, even after graduation. Because we have a lot of young people who have finished school. In fact, we have some that have not even schooled, but they have skill. So having a commission will be able to profile these young people so that at the appropriate stages of their life or their journey, something will be done, they'll be well catered for, and their interests will actually be protected. Their interests will be well guided so that they will not be confused. Because today, we have the young people, yes, because of their intelligence, some of them are going to illegal activities, such as this internet fraud. If we have a commission that is guiding these young people, all these things will not come. All the bills I've sent or presented for first reading are not just bills that I just woke up a day and say I want to present bills. No. I'm looking at my constituency, my federal constituency, because most of the bills actually affect my constituency. If you check in Nasarawa North, I'm talking about Wamba, I'm talking about Akwanga, I'm talking about Nasarawa, we do not have any federal presence there. There is no federal presence. And if you look at the bills, especially to be established in these three local government or federal constituency, you discover, okay, let's start with the University of Education. Our people are mostly teachers. We have a College of Education in Akwanga. So most of them finish College of Education and just stay and they are teaching. So for me, the thinking is to give them a more proper research institution so that they will be able to do research, more research, and bring more people to expose them into what they're into. That's the education, the educational system. For the Agro Energy Technical Institute, our people are mostly, apart from teaching, they're into agriculture. Wamba, Akwanga, Nasarawa is an agrarian society. So for me, the thinking is bringing this institute will help them, will help most of our farmers get proper education and know-how on how to go about their farming. For the energy aspect, we'll talk about the renewable energy. We'll talk about this issue of the oil discovered in Nasarawa State. The idea is to have an institute that will be able to guide, that will be able to educate, that will be able to train the manpower or the personnel that will work in this facility. Then talking about the other bill, that's the vocational, technical vocational. Now, I discovered that a lot of people who are doing tailoring, who are doing barbing, who are doing a lot of plumbing and the rest, we need an institution that will be able to give them certification, that will be able to give them that professional the professional background, so that whatever they're doing, they know that they're doing it as professionals. They have a certification. Yes, we know that after going through training, some of these people give them they call it freedom, but it's not enough. We need a proper institution that will be regulated by the government to be able to give these people that certification and be able to give people this training so that they can stand. Whenever they are working for you, you know that they're not just a roadside people, they are being regulated. Do you know the number of people, whether you school or not, do you know the number of people that can stand on their own and earn income and employ people? Do you know how it will affect the economy of our zone, the state, and the nation at large? So I'm looking at it from that angle. So because I understand that the Nigerian system will talk more on expenditure rather than how to generate more revenues and income. So having institutions like that, I believe we're going to have more revenues.
Well, let's hope the member is able to get the buy-in of colleagues and, of course, the nod of the executive. We'll see you again next week when we return with another package of you and your reps. Keep a date with us. I am Victor Azu.